West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Is your child among those that is returning back to school or did return to school yesterday? Because today is the second day where we are receiving learners in schools. But yesterday I managed to move to some of the schools in the rural city. I must say the turnout was very much alarming. That shows us most of the learners are still within the homesteads. But as a parent, what are you doing to ensure that your learner who is still with you returns back to school also really for learning in there? Because at the end of the day, this is the second term, and then third term is when the child also really will be sitting for what we call the final examination. But then the question also really that should also really worry you is that if at all maybe the learner is not returning back home to school, sorry, as a parent, what are you doing to also really send back the child back? Is the question sorry you should be asking yourself this early morning. But really, nonetheless, you are most welcome for the Tuesday edition of the Kokoliriko live show with me, Farish Majid, and today happens to be the 28th day into the month of that is of May here, and that is the year 2024. And really, it's a great pleasure having you on board this morning. For those who are still in bed up this hour of the morning, want to say you get to work up, and that's only leave that bed and so go start hustling for your daily needs. And if you really keep on bed up this hour of the morning, then that means you may also really miss out the other opportunities, because usually they say it is the first bird also that catches the worm, and that is only why you should also be part of that. And this is to the hustlers. If you're still home, you need to make sure that you leave the bed and also leave home, so that also you go that's struggling also to get monies for yourself in there. But really, still related to schools, related to what is happening in the education sector, I want to say yesterday was actually when officially that is school resumed. That's for second term, and we did see a lot of things happening in schools. But one observation that I managed to see in most of the schools that I managed to traverse within a rural city is that I was able to be welcomed by jerrycans carrying water, and I also got reminded of COVID-19 due time, and that's only where I must say the SOPs are already in place. That is only to help control what we call the red eye disease, which is currently in outbreak in the country, where we also want to urge the parents and also learners to also really talk about this disease, because the learners may be the ones to bring it from schools, and to you, the parent, if you're not also really very comfortable. And that is why we are saying you must buy sanitizer for the learners. And this only one called the education stakeholders within the rural city also did make that appeal to the learners to also ask them, that is to buy the sanitizers and other activities so that also they help control the disease. And to control the disease, we have been told it is quite simple. That's washing hands using clean water and soap is actually one way that also really we could be able to avoid disease. But then secondly, using that is sanitizers, which has already been identified as a model of also controlling disease, where we have also been asked to wash hands regularly using clean water and soap. And for those who do not want to wash hands, you feel you're a big boss, you can also really use the sanitizers, which are a bit pocket friendly. And this is only where we are saying these cheap hand sanitizers must be bought. Those who can be maybe carry them from one place to another, must ensure they do so that already we do not also really have this disease maybe spread like COVID-19, because COVID-19 like started just like maybe how the red eye is today, but we also the results of how it also really just bomb blasted. And that's why we are saying to also for us to not witness that, we need to make sure that we control it at this stage. And to control that is quite simple. Avoid what we call public gatherings. For those who have already contracted disease, you should also just stay home and avoid that is carrying disease from one person to another, because if at all you are going to be also really freely mingling with people, and then definitely we are likely to see you also really spread the disease from one person to another, which will be quite unfortunate. And that's why we are saying if at all you have realized that you have already contracted disease, first of all stay home, and then also really getting to mingle with other ones. Secondly, avoid touching your eyes. This has already been identified as a mode of controlling the disease, because you may be able to touch a surface that was already being infected, and then you move it to your eye. That will also help you. That will also really make you contract this, and that is why we are saying avoid touching your eyes, so that also really at the end of the day you are not also really part of the maybe the statistics that is contributing to the red eye disease in there. And really for those who have already obtained the eyes, wash the hands. We have also been told locally to wash the eye using soap. I don't know how true that science is, but really locally this is the information ground. You should be able to wash your eyes, and so that also really maybe the running tears from your eyes can also be controlled. And let's maybe get us the video of what exactly happened yesterday to paint us an image of what exactly transpired yesterday. Take a look.
Schools officially opened today, 27th of May 2024, for second term amidst outbreak of conjunctivitis. The turn-up of learners was general fare in most schools in Arua City. At most of the schools we visited, jerrycans carrying water for washing hands have been placed at the gate to welcome the learners and other stakeholders. This is to help prevent the spread of the disease among the learners who are at high risk of contracting the disease. Arua City Senior Inspector of Schools, Buza Zil, implored the schools to continue adhering to the standard operating procedures against conjunctivitis, commonly known as red eye, that have been put in place, for instance, use of sanitizers and washing hands using soap.
As learners are reporting, we request them to enforce the use of sanitizers. This will be in place. All learners will be having the small sanitizers in their hands. When they're in the classroom, maybe when they're out of classroom, they should make use of that. If parents can give these learners these small sanitizers, to be okay. In the absence of this, the hand washing equipment that has been placed strategically, we still encourage these learners to make use of frequently washing their hands. With the soap, there is no need for you to put the water there without the detergents. It has no use if the detergents are not there. So we encourage schools to every other time ensure that the hand washing equipment that has been kept in the storage should be removed out and placed in all the strategic places, so that every visitor who accesses the school, first of all, has to wash their hands before accessing the school premises.
Meanwhile, in relation to the turn-up of the learners in some of the schools we visited, the turn-up was general fare. At Niva Primary School, Sally Adania, the head teacher of the school, says the turn-up on the first day has been general fare, where the official commenced with learning.
The turn-up on the first day has been fair. We received 360 learners this morning, and teaching and learning is going on. All the activities of the school is flowing on well. The SOPs are also in place to fight against the outbreak of conjunctivitis, which is commonly known as the red eye.
However, few learners showed up for studies on the first day at a Republic Senior Secondary School, as confirmed by Ale Madawa Richard, the deputy head teacher in charge of academics.
By 1 p.m., the number of students we have received is 282 out of 2,500 students, and of them 101 are girls and the 181 are boys. As school administration, we really be disappointed with this turn up. We were expecting all of them to come so that our lessons or academic programs begin.
Second term, which officially commenced today, 27th of May 2024, is expected to run for a period of 89 days until 23rd of August 2024. Oraku Benson Pastore, Farsi Majid, Western Television.
Welcome back. Now let's move to Arua district, where the locals have been urged to embrace what we call free cervical cancer screening, and also not forgetting what we call prostate cancer. Today we have also realized that so many people are dying as a result of these diseases that I did mention to you. But now we have seen the Indian community, that's in conjunction with the Arua district local government, not forgetting what we call Care Well Foundation, Tigezi Health Care Foundation, and other stakeholders are holding that is a free cancer and breast, also really not forgetting cervical also cancer screening in there that will be running. That's from the 22nd of this month until the 31st of this month in there. That's at Arua Parish, that's in the Arua district. That is to help sensitize the community about early cancer detection, also the early cancer screening and treatment, and not forgetting what we call food security empowerment initiative. That's on rabbit rearing and also skilling in there. But really, how do we also really get also up for that is protected from this disease? Because today we have also been told, if at all this disease is first of all detected early, and then the chances of one surviving from it are very high. But that is also the reason why we need to also tell our people that they need to take advantage of such initiatives. That is first of all for early detection of cancer, because cancer remains actually one of those diseases that is actually claiming lives of millions of people in Uganda and in the world at large today. And really, how do we make sure that we do not also die as a result of this disease? Because you have also got to realize that cervical cancer is actually killing millions of women out there, and also really, prostate cancer is actually claiming so many lives of men out there. But really, how do we make sure we do not also really be part of the statistics is actually also something why we need to also really embrace this free cancer screening exercise, which is currently on the run. And that is why we need to also really talk about this disease, also really, which has also been affecting so many people out there. Because if we're talking about taking advantage of this, and then definitely they will also really be part of this, also maybe who may be able to die as a result of that. And during the press briefing that's at Alaro Hotel, Okiswa Geoffrey, the Rwanda District President, District Commissioner, asked the locals to embrace the free cancer and breast screening. Also, result that also they did not die as a result of this disease, because we have been told that also many people also continue to die as a result of this disease because simply it was detected late. But really, for those who are around maybe the areas where maybe in Western Suburbs, why don't we take advantage of that, where it is free of charge for you to also really get that is the screening of this disease. I really want to say this is actually the way to go, and where each and every local out there must actually embrace that they take advantage of that. And that is also really something where we may also really take advantage of that, and really would also really wish to also really ask the people out there to also really get access to that, because so many people have been waiting for that opportunity and they cannot also hardly get it, because for them to also really go for cancer screening in most cases has been quite expensive. But really, how do we make sure that we take advantage of what we call the free cancer screening is actually the question also really we must ask ourselves this early morning. And we did see that is Slipper Medoka, the executive director of Care Well Foundation, revealed that within the 6 months, empowering the local government also rapid breeding is actually the way to go, because we have been talking about socio-economic transformation. And in Western Sub-region, I must say, one region actually many people have been dying as a result of this disease. This disease is actually poverty, because you cannot be able to detect the disease early if you're poor, because for you to go and also have what we call the screening, then you need money to also really go and also really have yourselves tested in there. That is why we are saying for those who are poor, they may not be able to also have access to this medical care. And we did see Dr. Godfrey Anguio, the executive director that is of Kiefo Foundation, said that this is to help also the people get out of poverty through rabbit breeding, because rabbit is actually one of those animals. If at all somebody actually had that breeding, maybe a facility out there. Today we have also realized that not so many people are into this business, and for those who still have the money and who have the energy, I want to say you need to take art care. Maybe you need to also get engaged in that. This is also really where you will be able to get yourselves money in there. That's why we are saying people must ensure that they also get that. And we need to see also Alfred Okonzi, the LC5 chairman, that's already urging the private sector stakeholders to continue sensitizing the locals about such initiatives. First of all, on cancer screening, and then secondly, on wealth creation, because wealth is actually one of those diseases and the greatest contributors of people dying also, because the poor person may feel disgruntled, and the poor person may not feel life and why they need to continue existing. And that is why we may also at the end of the day see them also first of all giving up on life. And if at all one person gives out on life, that is the end of that person, because this person may not be able to also really feel interested about certain issues here and there. And that is why we are saying people must ensure that they take advantage of what we call these initiatives. And with this, the Free Cancer Medical Camp will be running as a reminder. That's the 1st May. Also, that's Aruba, also in Aruba Parish, that's in Aruba District. That's why we are saying people must also really get engaged in that. And that is already something that at the end of the day would also paint us an image. Let's first go to Aruba District and have a look at exactly what happened in there, what exactly leaders are saying, because usually we say getting the information from the horse's mouth is the best way, and here are the horses with the right information. Maybe you as the viewer is in need of.
The West Nile Indian community, together with the Aurora District Local Government, Care Well Foundation, Chigezi Healthcare Foundation and other stakeholders are holding a free breast, prostate and cervical cancer screening medical camp that will run till the 31st of May 2024 in Aruba Parish, Aurora District, to help sensitize the community about early cancer detection, early cancer treatment and food security empowerment initiative of rabbit breeding and skilling. During the press briefing at Alaro Hotel in Aurora District, Okiswa Godfrey, the resident district commissioner Aurora District, has urged the general public to embrace this free breast, prostate and cervical cancer screening medical camp to ensure a healthy population that will embrace socio-economic transformation.
The diagnosis of cancer, diagnosis of HIV/AIDS, and other health-related issues. And when it comes to cancers, and it is cancer of the cervix, you know how terrible that one has been. This cancer, and we have talked about the prostate cancer. We are all in big trouble, especially the men who are even here. And then those ones will lead. So we need to pass out this message loud and clear, but also to see that you are God-given, that you are coming at the rightful time to ensure that our people get these services. You see, now we are talking about socio-economic transformation, and we are talking about PDM. This is now the catchment word, PDM and yoga, and other livelihood programs. I agree with you. How can this program succeed if we have a sick population? The program will be at the West. We really need a very, very healthy population.
Shilpa Mendoka, the executive director for Carewell Foundation, revealed that within 6 months, the stakeholders will be launching the first rabbit breeding and training center in Arua district as a way of empowering the local communities and host communities by uplifting people's livelihood.
We as Carewell Foundation have decided to partner with TFO, and within 6 months we will be launching our first rabbit breeding as well as training center in Arua district, and we hope that this will bring what we have thought of bringing, the empowerment to the local host and as well as the refugee community who's been thriving here in poverty. Our first aim as a Carewell Foundation is to uplift the people's livelihood. Rabbit rearing is not just about employment or about earning money or something like that, but it is also about addressing the protein deficiency that West Nile kids are facing. Most of the West Nile kids are facing protein deficiency, and we also want to address that health condition.
Dr. Anguyo Joffrey, the executive director for Kihefo Foundation, stated that the healthy approach that the stakeholders are using is to help the people get out of poverty through rabbit breeding and skilling.
We are based on 3 pillars: disease, poverty, and ignorance. So these are really integrated. If people are poor, they are likely to be sick. So our approach has been, how do you make people, how do you get them out of poverty? We do that through enterprise development, empowering families. And one of our signature projects is Rabbit, where I am in Cavalry. We have got people who earn like, they're those who earn 1,000 shillings a day, but now they can earn 20,000-30,000 in a day because of rabbits.
Honorable Alfred Okonzi, the LC5 chairman, Arua District, urged the private sector stakeholders to continue investing in free cancer screening medical camps in order to minimize the missed opportunities by the people. Honorable Alfred Okonzi further urged the general public to show up in big numbers to utilize these free services in order to create demand for stakeholders to provide funding.
In the private sector, to have cancer screening services readily available to the population in West Nile region and Arua in particular. This service must be readily available so that we minimize these missed opportunities in our communities where people cannot take up these services. And finally, I would like to say that making appeal to the wider community of Arua district and West Nile at large that we must improve on our health-seeking behaviors. Where the services are there, let's turn up in big numbers to take up the services in order to create demand. We must put the demand from service providers, from people with big hearts that can come to help us. And
welcome back to that story of education. Now let's talk about census. I do understand that just 2 days ago census did climax, and this is where we did see these nominators asked to sort of hand over their, that is copies, commonly known as the gadgets, that is to their supervisors, but some of them did not also really take this in good faith, and this is also really what we did see happening in the city yesterday. As a result of what we did see is some enumerators who filled this ground also really had to storm the mayor's gardens, demanding explanations from the city census officers. That's in relation to why they must hand over the gadgets not in broad daylight, and maybe in a process that's not a bit transparent to them. And this is also where they were also told about intimidation by some LCs who had to come with their supervisors to also retrieve these gadgets from them, which didn't go on well with them. And this actually led to many of them storming the mayor's gardens, where they demanded, first of all, explanation from what exactly happened, because to them, they were asked to solely, when they were handing over these gadgets, first of all, their photos were taken, and the process was a bit transparent, where everybody saw exactly how they were able to receive these copies, and now to retrieve them back. They're asking them to solely hand over these gadgets through the supervisors, which wasn't something that really didn't go on well with these people, and they actually said that is what exactly resulted to why they had to hand over the gadgets. That's at the mayor's gardens, and that is one thing also that happened yesterday. But now, what exactly happened is the question also you should be asking yourself as the viewer this early morning, because for this photo to hand over the gadgets as requested by the city authorities is actually something that really I must also say is actually still an indication of the mess that is that actually mad what we call the census exercise, because right from the beginning we did see the exercise starting in a way that's a bit shaky, and that is also where we did see the first 2 days almost being missed out by some enumerators who did not actually do their works on the first day, because they had a lot of challenges. First of all, the gadgets, which had the problems, and then the mapping issues, and this is where we did see 6 more added days on to the initial 10 that was supposed to be done, because within 10 days I do understand that already this exercise wasn't done, and up to now so many people have not been enumerated. Are you actually part of those who got nominated, maybe enumerated? Is the question also you should be asking yourself as the viewer this early morning. But I must also inform you that I was among those privileged to also be that enumerated, where I had to call the enumerators to come to my rescue because I wanted to be enumerated. But now you is not enumerated. How are you going to be also utilizing the resources for the next 10 years? Because the resources you're going to be using for the next 10 years could be mine, could be what was meant for maybe somebody out there, because maybe you're not. That wasn't captured well, but really what transpired, what happened? Maybe this is also the question we should be asking the body that is UBOS, which is actually mandated to also ensure the success of this census exercise, which wasn't something really that didn't go on well with some people who actually raised questions here and there in relation to what we call the National Population and Housing Census exercise of 2024. Remember, this exercise is done after every 10 years, and the last time Uganda had this census exercise was actually way back in 2014, and we are likely to witness another in 2034. I don't know how many years are those, but those are 10 years. I don't know who exactly will be around, maybe alive by that time, but we hope all the viewers who are watching us right now should be alive by that time, and me inclusive also should be maybe alive by that time. That would be also quite well. But what we are saying is, for those who are not enumerated, really we need to do something. We need to maybe call for an extension, because we didn't see the 6 more other days, but still, enumerators, we are not able to reach out so many people. And really, I must say, many people still continue to also say that we are not enumerated, and that is why we are saying this exercise also really wasn't maybe to the best of the organization, and that is why maybe the next organization should be also really quite well in there, because this is 10 years exercise, and really for it to be witnessed that way after 10 years of preparation, that is quite unfortunate, because really I do understand that this exercise was meant to be in a colorful way. First of all, this year we were told also it was also meant to be digital, because unlike the previous exercise where people had to carry books, this time around they only had to carry their copies, maybe plus power banks for them to move from one place to another. But really we didn't see it also being marked by a lot of challenges, of which I believe the Uganda National Bureau of Statistics wasn't also ready for that, and that is why we didn't witness that. But what we are saying is how exactly maybe are these people going to be responding to the questions of those who are not enumerated, because so many issues continue to linger that is in the public mind, also in the public domain, because they are not enumerated, but really we are also being told. And after the campaigns where many people were urged actually to adhere to this already a call for them to be enumerated, which wasn't something that didn't go on well, but really for us to be witnessing that also really is quite something we do not want to witness. But what we are saying is what exactly happened. and who exactly is to blame for not being enumerated in there is the question really we should be asking ourselves. But yesterday, we did see some disgruntled rural city enumerators storming mayor's gardens, demanding explanation, first of all, on the mode through which the cappies were being returned for them, or something that didn't go on well with them, and then secondly, in relation to what we call their payments and also other grievances, because they also raised the question in relation to what we call the attire, which they didn't receive, but really we saw trucks happening and also delivering these items. But what we didn't receive from UBOS, the rural city officials, is that this actually delivered what we call the reflector jackets and other items, but not the t-shirts and umbrellas as claimed, as also really something we didn't see in there. But now, let's also really first connect to the complainants and also really, and the respondent also really in there. But for now, let's have a look at the video where the angry enumerators also stormed mayor's gardens in their demanding explanation from the city centers authority, where we see Musa Lumu also really coming to explain on what exactly happened. For now, let's have a look at that.
Now, the pain that has brought us here, the first day, when these copies were issued out, you made a decision and even you took further distance following the instructions of seeing the security of these copies are ensured. That's why everything is documented, photos were taken, meaning you have assured security of these copies. Now, when we are sending in the field, we are sending in official manner. We expected, since activity day has ended, you issue a letter, enumerators and supervisors, activity days has elapsed. Can you go to hall or to this point, come and hand over your copies in a very organized, proper, traditional way to be done. This was not done.
This payment, especially from transport refund, you promised us that you are going to give us transport refund of 10,000 each day for the 9 days. It's supposed to be 90,000. Now, this 90,000, let me say, someone borrowed this money from somebody elsewhere. And the person has been traveling maybe 5,000, 5,000, and has used it for 9 days, 90,000. Now you have sent 90,000 in someone's mobile money account. When you go and withdraw, MTN will not give that money for free. MTN will remove withdrawal charge, which is closer to 3,000, if not 2,500, which means you are likely to receive 87, and that is exactly what I received. So I want to know whether the same is going to happen.
These people also promised us in the last day when we finished our training, they told us they are going to issue out some of these equipment we are going to use in the field. For example, the bags, the umbrellas, the gumboot. This promised they will give us these things, but up to now we did not receive these things. We only received the IDs plus the apron, but the rest of the things we don't know where they have gone. We don't know whether they received it or not. But we wanted them to come and explain for us what happened.
Now, why we requested these things to be returned through the supervisors is because when you're starting this work, each enumerator was assigned a supervisor. And a supervisor had a minimum of 8 enumerators that he or she was supervising. So we believe that this supervisor knows this enumerator in and out. That's why I was like, let the enumerators submit this copies or these materials to the parish supervisors, and then from there the parish supervisors submit to sub-county supervisors collectively, and then we have our vehicles to reach there and pick them. Why are we saying so? This is one, for security purposes, that all of them are gathered together as a sub-county, because some counties have 90, others have 100 copies, so that we get our vehicle, okay, here we go back, we go there where the sub-county is, and we get these copies.
Welcome back, and now to just briefly talk something about what is happening in the world of politics, because we also do not leave anything out. As Kokoliriko Live show, we cut across all the angles where we touch, that is across all these aspects of life. And now let's talk something about that is national platform, where the 8 remaining Loop supporters missed that court after catching red eye. Is another story that we are seeing on the past morning, and at least 8 of the 32 national platform supporters remanded on charges of unlawful possession of the other 13 pieces of explosive devices on Monday missed court after catching what we call red eye, which is currently on the outbreak. And the prison staff actually made that revelation at court. That's Machindi, that the Kampala also group could not attend the trial because they were undergoing treatment for the disease that also spreads, that is commonly through direct contact with contaminated fingers or personal items. And those who are undergoing the treatment at Chitala prison include that is Rashid Seguja, Abdu Matovu. We did see also Sarif Kalanzi being part of that, not forgetting Musa Kavuma, Jimmy Galukanda, Paul Mwanguzi, and Sharif Matovu, and not forgetting Livingston Katushabe in there. These are also the people who have also missed that in court. And this is because they contracted what we call red eye. Remember earlier we were talking about red eye and how to also really avoid it. And that's already where we are saying the SOPs not only need to be observed, that's maybe within the school centers. These also prison facilities also really as well need to observe what we call the red eye SOPs in place. And not only maybe the prison facilities, also other areas. First of all, the markets must also really be in observance of what we call the standard operating procedures, or against that is red eye, because red eye has become red eye. Today we are seeing many people putting on glasses, and this is only a clear indication that they are hiding their eyes. And this is only where we are seeing maybe it being a blessing in disguise for these who are doing the business. I think one of these days I need to bring also really a business person behind the selling of these glasses, and that will also really maybe tell us exactly how the business is booming. And during the COVID-19, those who are dealing in mass made a lot of money. I really hope also maybe those who are into the glasses business also really making money, because if you look at the sunglasses today, we have seen them being on market. Because if you really move in most places, you realize the people who have already contracted disease are putting on glasses to hide their red eyes from also us being maybe seeing it, because the disease is called red eye, I believe, because it also may be how it looks. Because those who have the disease really have red eyes exactly, and that is why we are saying they are trying to sort of hide their eyes. That is going to help also really avoid people from seeing the eyes. And we did see these Loop supporters, 8 in numbers out of the 32, also really missing, that is caught in there after 13 pieces of also maybe exploited. These have also really being allegedly also being found in possession with them, and that is why we also really seeing them not appearing. That's in court. And one of their lawyers, whom we know identify as Mr. George Musisi, told journalists also really who are blocked from accessing the army court room that the hearing of the case could not go on because the 8 suspects were absent, and that is why the court could not be able to proceed with the hearing. And that's also something we did see happening, and the case had come up with for further hearing of the position. That's also a prosecution case. And Uganda prison spokesperson Mr. Frank Baine in a phone interview said we have the problem of the contagious red eye disease that also really affects each and everywhere. That there is a standing order of not taking any prison to court, also really any prisoners to court, or who are suffering from the contagious disease in there. That's solely where we did see that happening. And for nearly 4 years now, National Platform supporters have been on remand. The state has only presented 7 prosecution witnesses. That is where we did see former Ginger District Commissioner Mr. Eric Sakwa, who is also one of the prosecution witnesses, who was also supposed to testify in court on Monday, and that's something we did see happening in there. This is something also I want to remind you of. And the prosecution alleges that between November 2020 and May 12 of 2021, in diverse areas of Jinja, Mbale, Chireka, Nakulabe, Kawempe, Natete, and not forgetting Kampasa Central, the accused had 13 pieces of explosive devices, which are ordinarily also a monopoly of the defense forces in there. The group was arrested in Kalanga district while also on the campaign trail for the then presidential candidate, that's Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, who actually also echoed a voice on that. And that is really where we feel we need to also ask your opinions on, and ask the viewer if you really feel that there's something you need to put forward on this matter, on maybe in relation to the arrest of these National Platform supporters. Feel free to drop it on our comment section. For those of you watching us maybe via YouTube, feel free to drop it there. And not forgetting also those catching the show via Facebook, you also as well should drop your comment in there. But for now, let's have this short commercial breather, and when we bounce back, we shall be able to also expound on other topics. And remember, this is the Kokoliriko live show that starts your ways every Mondays to Fridays, right from the hour of 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock, where we give you a detailed and comprehensive analysis of what is happening in the world of news. For now, let's first have this short commercial breather, and we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back to a short commercial break. On a sad note, we did receive the shocking news about the death of the Lira city clerk in there, which is quite unfortunate, but really this is in a motor accident, and that is why we also have to pray for the relatives and the people of Lira city, that's entirely for the loss of that gentleman in there, because really as a city clerk, definitely I believe he has been doing his best to transform the city. Maybe that's how it is. And we did now see police in North Choga region have launched queries into the single vehicle accident that claimed the life of Lira city clerk. Also something we did see also being very, very much unfortunate in India, where we did see Theophilus Tibihika, who was killed in the wee hours of Monday in Bobarajet area along the Lira Apache Road in there. And this is something we did see also happen yesterday, and the deceased was on Monday morning, found also trapped in the wreckage of double cabin pickup Hilux registration number UAM also 5450V, in which he was also driving in there. It is suspected that the vehicle at around 2 a.m. on Monday lost control of the vehicle and veered off the road and overturned several times in there. But really, who was he in company with? Because at that hour of the night, we did not also really expect maybe such activities to happen, and that's why we are saying also really, as we want to these roads, let's be very, very much careful, because sometimes people have to travel and also really be with their families, and really how maybe they are returning, if at all you are turning back, you need to also really make sure that you are in company of maybe another person who knows how to drive, so that also really, if you are feeling sleepy, you should also really hand over the vehicle to that person. And that is why we're not saying maybe he would have also been involved in this accident as a result of sleep, but what we are saying, these possibilities are there. That is why we are saying people must ensure that also really, as they are driving these vehicles at night, they must also be in company of other people, which would also be quite well in there. This as well, Tibika also really lost control at around 2 a.m. in there. Tibika was at the time of the accident driving in the car alone, and according to the North Choga Police Spokesperson, that is also the information we did receive from Senior Superior Police, that's Patrick Jimmy Okema in there. This is something also we did see being very much unfortunate. Okema said the senior officers documented the accident scene, and the body of the deceased was removed and taken to Lira Regional Referral Hospital mortuary pending post-mortem examinations in there. But really what exactly happened, and while preliminary findings suggest that the deceased could have also been speeding, and police also said investigators are yet to also find out concrete evidence to that. And that's something also we did see happening, and we continue to mourn and condole with the Pope. That's Lira City, because Lira is actually one of the cities actually that is catering for northern Uganda, because northern Uganda entirely has 3 cities, and this is also the act that's for the different sub-regions. West Nile also has Arua, and if you look at northern Acholi sub-region, it is actually being catered for by that's Guru City, and Lango is that is being taken care of, that's through Lira City. And that's why we are saying for this gentleman who has been also transforming the city, definitely for us to lose him at that time, it is quite unfortunate, because this is the time we needed him very much, as the cities are yet trying to stand out. Because these are baby cities which are just trying to stand out on their own, and then for the fathers maybe to these baby cities just to be lost like that is quite unfortunate. And that is why we are saying we still mourn with these families. And the Tivika, it is the 4th person to succumb, that according to information we are receiving, that's recently we did also see an accident which claimed also really about 3 lives, and one of those 2 actually were children that also belong to Lango province. The Spear of Lango province in there, after they were involved in a car crash that knocked also, where we did see people who were moving, and that is from a function being also really knocked by also really another coaster, which was already carrying footballers who were from a friendly game in there, which was something I must say just happened recently, which is quite unfortunate. And that is why we are saying we still continue to mourn with the people of Lango sub-region in terms of also these accidents. And that's something we did see happening, as the Vika becomes the 4th person also to succumb to an accident in just 3 days. And on Saturday we did see a minibus coaster, registration number UBL 851Z, colliding head-on, that's sorry, with the Fuso truck, registration number UBA 0200J, also really happening in there, leaving at least 3 people dead and on the spot. And we did also see 60 passengers getting injured there, who were also unaware. It was alleged that the driver of the Fuso carrying passengers returning from a traditional marriage or ceremony, who was also really speeding, lost control of the vehicle and veered off the road and knocking the coaster carrying that's players of Lango province team in there. This was quite unfortunate, and I really want to say we need to also really avoid such accidents, and because really For us to also continue losing people like that, then it becomes quite unfortunate. And now let's leave that aside, let's move to the national scene, still in relation to politics, where we did see police clearing noob rallies, but put their political rights. And this is something we did see happening on the past morning, as police have also finally allowed population rallies for national opposition group, that is national party in there, but on condition they follow certain guidelines, and that's something we did see happening, following a complaint that's by the opposition party, targeted efforts by police also really to curtail also what we call their political freedom. And with this national platform and the law enforcement body, we are on Monday engaged in the meeting to iron out their differences, and that's something I want to say happened on a quite good note. And the statement was also issued by the deputy police spokesperson, that's Claire Nabaka. The party also meetings will continue as long as they adhere to the guidelines upon also issued by the two parties during the Monday meeting, and this is where we did see that happening. And somebody could be interested in the guidelines which have also really been issued as a resolution into this meeting. And according to police statement, the national platform leadership shall be required also to notify police through Inspector General Police in writing early so enough to allow the law enforcement body to reply also in time and copy the letters to their territorial commanders, and that's something we did see happening in India. And according to law enforcement also we did see also a lot happening, and they said also in regards to the confiscated loop items by security, it was agreed the loop follow-up will be made by the Director of Operations, and communication will be made later on, because these people have been often also demanding for their rights and for their property, which have also been arrested in there. Let's leave that aside, let's move now into worship, because really I do understand the National Namagogo and the Catholic pilgrims and the Anglican pilgrims are on their way to Namagogo Catholic, that is shrine, also really to also really be also in part of the June 3rd also Mother's Day celebration in India, because this day is actually celebrated to honor about the 22 men who were murdered on orders also of, that's the King Kabaka Mwanga in India. But really this is something where we did see in the Catholic diocese, Anglicans, or maybe the pilgrims also moving in numbers to this shrine in India. That's Namagogo to also be part of this year's June 3rd celebration also in India. This is something also where we did see the Catholic also the diocese who will also really be also in the forefront also to animate this year's celebration. So that's why we are saying we need to also wish them the best. They are about to reach, because we, as information of yesterday, they were also really, that's around Bob one, they were joined by, that's Fiona Nyamtoro, also really the minister in there, who is actually one of the pastors hailing from the sub-region, who was also really already in the company of this program. We hope she will be also moving with the team that is also really up to the end of the destination, and that would also be quite well. And that is also where we do also want to ask her and the team or to also really ensure maybe they reach safely, because yesterday we also did receive information of also really pilgrims moving all the way from Kenya, who also really arrived, and we are also really expecting more in there. Now let's leave that aside, let's look at what exactly is happening, where Archbishop Semogori allows National Water and Sewage Corporation boss for transforming church in that is something also where we did see happening, as the Archbishop of Kampala, that's Paul Semogori, has commended also the managing director, that's of National Water and Sewage Corporation, that's Silva Mugisha, for his contribution towards the development of St. Charles Luanga Mutundwe Catholic Parish. And Dr. Mugisha's efforts as a treasurer spearheaded the construction of the 1,000-seater church and mobilized finances for the project. And this is something we did see, and the church leaders also have said he single-handedly also constructed the church well, and also the wall, saving also the church from also being land also being encroached in there. That's also upon constructing the wall in there. But these are things only where we need also to have, maybe as the people who were interested in these offices, we need to also make sure that our efforts and and he became the third also bishop of the diocese that was created, that is way back in 2003, and covers all Chirugura and Kazo district. Also, that's something we have see happening. Our work is supported by the community members, and this is actually one way our efforts can be able to be also realized. And that's why we are saying for those who are into this office, we must make sure that our work is not only for our stomachs. We need to make sure that the impact is actually felt by each and everybody, and that is why we are saying that shouldn't be the case, and we should always make sure that also the work we are doing also has an impact on society. The Archbishop Lauda Dr. Mugisha during the parish's also 10th anniversary celebration, acknowledging also his instrumental role in the parish's growth and development in India. The parish has also really been significant, and where we did see increasing in baptisms confirmations, and also the holy matrimony with also parishioners actively engaged in community service and social justice. The Archbishop Semogorere also commended the parishioners also for their dedication and commitment for their faith in there. And this is also something we did see where he did praise also the parish leaders, including that Reverend Father Remigius Semuju, the parish priest and former also parish priest, that's Reverend Father Warren Kibalama, and not forgetting the basic Christian communities for their efforts in building a vibrant community in there. That's something where we did see that happening, and the Archbishop also announced that the Pope also Francis has declared May 26th as the Children's Day to be also celebrated annually in the church, and he asked the parents also to be responsible in giving birth and raising their children, and called upon also them to be responsible during also raising their children. That's one thing also I want to add my voice on. Today we have been parents who are just known as fathers by also just giving birth. They did what they call the production, but they cannot hardly also take care of their children. That's why we are seeing a lot of children today being engaged in criminality because we are having irresponsible parents who cannot be able to also take care of their children. That's why we are saying at the third, also the 26th May 26th day, which has been cast at the Children's Day, should also be also respected. And that is why we also need to talk to parents in relation to that. And that is also where we also want to leave that topic aside. But before we get to leave that topic aside, the Inspector General of Government, Betty Kameng, echoed the Archbishop's statements regarding that Dr. Mugisha's role in community development, and she praised Dr. Mugisha and his wife for their substantial contribution to various development projects in both their home districts and also in that district of Bushenyi and Kampala, highlighting also really the significant impact of their efforts also happening there. The IH also made a contribution towards the completion of the church, and Father Remigius also Semuju, the Father Priest highlights the parish's expansion, including also the first parishes and income generating projects which have also been established in there. And the celebration was attended by area MPs Alois Mukasha, Inspector General of Government, that's Betty Kami, and other dignitaries who also came in numbers or to also be part of this year's celebration. And St. Charles Catholic Parish, Mutude was also consecrated by the late Archbishop Cyprian Kizito Luanga, that is on January 26th and 2014, and the National Water and Sewage Corporation attended the branch to set up a mobile help desk that is to help address customer costs and displaying its commitment towards service and delight also in there. This is something also where I want to sort of leave that aside, and still within what is happening in the church. Mo is consecrated as North Ankole Diocese Bishop is an story we are having on the past this morning, and this is where I also want to talk about. And now we are seeing Reverend Alfred Mozi has been consecrated and enthroned as the new bishop, that's of North Ankole Diocese. And he became the third also bishop of the diocese that was created, that is way back in 2003, and covers all Chirugura and Kazo district. Also, that's something we already see happening. And this is also where we also want to welcome this gentleman during a time where we are witnessing a lot of issues. I want to say he needs to also be part of maybe the socio-economic drive, which also being the government's also initiative. And this is already something I feel we need to sort of talk about as we get to move on with the show. And today, so many of these issues are continue to unfold on the masses. And this is also really where I want to say we need to also really make sure that we talk about this. And Reverend Alfred Mozi has been consecrated, and this is already something Mozi's consecration happened on Sunday at Emmanuel Cathedral, that's in Mushere Kuyure district, and he replaces Bishop Stephen Namanya, who was the second bishop after taking over from Nathan Muhanguzi, the founder bishop of maybe the diocese in 2015. India Mozi was born on October 9th of 1972 to the late that is James Parker Biampaka and Miss Constance Tumushere in the current Kazo districts, formerly known as also in Abushozi County, that worked as a court clerk for the Kazo sub-county for 4 years in there before, so now transforming also into that area of church now. And he had worked in Revikoma Archdeaconry as the archdeacon in Kazo district, and by the time of his enthronement as the bishop of North Ankole, he was the archdeacon of Kinoni Archdeaconry in Kazo district. And that's something where I want to put that discussion aside, and we welcome him in a special way. We say he is welcome aboard, and we are also looking forward to working with him. And now let's leave us the other side. Let's briefly look at what's happening across borders, because so many of these issues going to unfold, and this is also where we are seeing cautious optimism as Kenya, Uganda resume trading milk and also the sugar in there, because after a long period of time we have been witnessing the relationship between also the Ugandan government and the Kenyan counterparts not being well in there. But really what exactly has been happening is something also really want to sort of echo our voice and also share our opinions on. And as the viewer, how best do you feel maybe this matter should be addressed? Is the question solely maybe you need your opinion on, and you too solely can still drop your comment in there, and I will be able to read through it. And the section of Ugandan businessmen have also resumed trading with Kenya after also signing what we call a memorandum of understanding by the presidents, that's William Ruto and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in Nairobi last week, ending also really long-standing issues choking cross-border commercial activities between the two countries. And while trade in sugar and milk has resumed, businesses are still also cautious as a number of taxes, including those on Kenyan trees, are yet also to be reviewed. In that, Simon Kaeru, the vice chairman of the East African Business Council, who also chairs the Ugandan private sector, told us the East African that the Lisbon meeting also was very helping in opening up the two countries also to trade in that. That's something where I want to echo out my voice on, and I want to say is really something we must say is quite a good gesture, because most of the times we have been witnessing the relationship more so between the Ugandan government and being very sour in there. But really, how best can this country solely ensure we have a long-standing what we call peace? That is the question solely I should be able to ask maybe as the viewer this morning. And during President Museveni's state visit, that's to Kenya, the two East African also community founding partners signed 7 memorandums also in public service management. Also, we did see education, SME development, sports, we did see in youth, we did see trade, and also not forgetting investment sectors in there. The leaders also agreed to resolve the trade wars, that is by adhering to the East Africa's protocols on the customs union, and not forgetting the common market in there. Really, these are things that I feel need to be observed, and that would also really be quite well for us to understand. And that is where I also want to say we need to respect all these guidelines in place. And by now, we did see the private sector in Uganda remains worried, and this is only for years. Uganda has been Kenya's longest export destination, but in July also of 2020, we did see Kenya instituted a ban on Ugandan sugar against as early agreement that's to increase Ugandan sugar exports to Kenya, but that did also really happen in there. But really, how do we also really make sure these grievances does not maybe continue? And during the consolidated meetings held in Kampala, when Kenya's Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia, also Mudavadi, also and his Ugandan counterpart, Foreign Minister also General Jajo Dongo Abakar also did have a meeting, and the two countries also really agreed to look into the 13% excise duty and impose that's on Kenyan juice in there. For instance, the duty is currently at 12% on Kenyan juice. It will also take some time before this is amended, and that's something where we say must also be reviewed very much quickly. Both countries agree that they should also not apply discriminatory taxes, levies, and import duties for goods originating that's from another East African country, and further there should also not be goods as per East African Community Protocol within the East African also countries in there. In March 2021, we did see Kenya added maize and chicken to the list of the banned exports from Uganda, and we did see issues of aflatoxin also emerging, and this is also something where I want to say is quite unfortunate for us to continue witnessing sour relationships between the two countries. And according to Kenya, the ban was to support Kenyan producers to recover from the trade disruption in their livestock by the COVID-19 pandemic by 2020 also in there. And this is something also where I want to say and it's not to be maybe also really talked about, because if at all that continues to happen, then it's quite unfortunate. And that is where finally I want to close the discussions, because usually we say east or west, home is best, but really we want to now conclude the discussions with what's happening at the national scene. This is in Busoga sub-region, where also need help, where now the authorities are raising concern following the rising cases of disease, and that's where we did see Busoga disease burden worrying also the authorities in. And now we are seeing the authorities are concerned by the high disease burden of Busoga sub-region, which they say is being manifested in the untested and also untreated diseases of malaria and several also dental and optical cases, among other affiliations. That's really where we did see that happening, and this was revealed during a 3-day camp visit that's at Kisamba village in Bulanguya, also in the sub-county in Kamuni district, organized by also Precious Kids Foundation. Busoga Kingdom Minister of Health, Dr. Andrew Baliaku, has said Busoga sub-region has been plagued by a myriad of what we call all the new diseases, and appealed also to people, especially the elderly, to always go for checkups also in there. And this is something also I want to say it should also be respected. And Dr. Ronald Musenze, a board also member of Precious Kids Foundation, described Busoga as being needy as far as the demand for medical services is concerned, and that's why we are saying people now need to reach out to that region, because most often we have been talking about jiggers, and this is only where so many people have been knowing Busoga sub-region for, but really that is also something where I want to say needs also to be also given even help to us because we have also been told dental challenges are still happening. People, the Busoga sub-region, not forgetting malaria, which also still remains a disease burden in that. Dr. Musense, who is also the Chief Executive Officer of Air, Water, Earth, and also one of the co-sponsors of the medical camp, saying the role is to create awareness among the people so that they don't wait also and fall sick and go to the hospital. The Princess Kids Foundation Chief Executive Officer, that's unfolded Dr. Princess Scobia Namazi, saying they also encouraged also to come on board after realizing that many people suffer from early also curable diseases, and that's already they lack the money. Because they cannot be able to solely move that to the health facilities in there, and that is only where we are saying this shouldn't only happen to Busoga. People of Western Sub-region must embrace going to hospitals when it's still earlier. That's why we are still witnessing a lot of people dying as a result of this disease, because as human beings, they first of all rely on self-medication, and then they need to move also into these private health facilities. At the end of the day, when things worsen, that is when they think of moving the health facilities, maybe the better health facilities, for instance, the health centers and maybe hospitals. But what we are saying is that this behavior must stop, and that calls for behavior change. For instance, maybe if somebody is not realizing that they're not feeling well, they need to also rush out to these hospitals, and that's also where at the end of the day they would also be able to get also the disease. And that is what brings us to today's discussions. We hope you had a wonderful time, and this is already where we are asking you as the viewer of the Kokoliriko live show to always continue watching these maybe the programs, because after here we are going to be having news splitting liberty, as Mokulia Lawrence is already well set and ready to give you what is happening in the world of news. And with that, amechadi okitandro mati opiriawa leni miai agati otizu mukulani tezu de yola za imiti ya lady nini mapa wasani amanyama idika yodu tusimaliada.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.